Welcome to the Tour Operator Growth Podcast, where we share the strategies, systems, and real-world lessons helping tour operators grow more direct bookings, spend less time buried in admin, and build stronger businesses. Brought to you by Resmark, the leading team behind booking software, websites, marketing services, and digital waivers built for tour operators by people who still actually run tours. Now, let's get into today's episode. Greg, I want to play a game with you. A little would you rather. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, let's do it. We're going to compare some tours here. So we have one tour. It's $77. So it's probably a day tour. So a day tour, $77. Now, we have two that we're comparing. One has 219 reviews, but the reviews average at a 4.7. Or we have a tour operator, same price, day tour. It has a 5-star review, but only 12 reviews. Which tour operator are you choosing and why?
Probably the 4.7 stars. If you listen to recent podcasts, I tend to be very skeptical of 5-star companies. Granted, if they only have 12 reviews, 5 stars is probably something that could happen. But the more reviews that you get, the less likely you're going to have 5 stars. So I'm totally going to trust the 4.7 stars. The main reason being that it shows, since they have so many reviews, it shows that they're a little bit more active probably. So maybe they have more people coming. They're kind of a little bit more established, whereas 12 reviews, most likely they're a new company. Doesn't mean that's a bad thing, but I'm going to tend to lean towards the more established company.
Especially for a day tour. Now let's switch that to a multi-day tour. The trip is you're paying $5,000 per person and it has the same review count. Are you still sticking to your original one that has more reviews at a lower rating? I'm curious.
Are you saying if it's the same number of reviews, same star rating as the previous
No.
question, but
Okay.
a higher price?
So yeah, everything's the same, but it's a multi-day tour. So it's a multi-day tour, 5,000 reviews. Sorry, $5,000, but it has 200 reviews at a 4.7 or 12 reviews at a 5.0.
Yeah, I think the higher the price, the more likely I'm going to trust a company based off of their reviews and the number of reviews they have, not necessarily just their rating. Now, obviously, there's other things I'm going to look at, but if we're just looking at those, I'm going to go with the company that has more reviews in this case.
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing both for the day tour and the multi-day tour. You're choosing the one with more reviews at a lower rating. I'm a little bit different. I would agree with you on the day tour, but for multi-day tour, because I'm usually shopping for these sort of things, I sometimes look for the ones with lower review count and a higher rating because I feel like they might have a more personalized approach because they're a smaller company. I'm not saying I automatically choose that company, but it is something that I consider when I'm inquiring. So I guess what I should say is I don't take them out of the consideration. So just something the way I buy. Okay. Ready? Sorry, I kind of wrapped up one. I turned that one into two. Okay. Are you ready for the next would you rather?
Yep.
Okay. It's a multi-day tour. So that's what it is. So it's a multi-day trip, but it is $3,000, great reviews, strong social, decent website, or same thing, multi-day tour, but you're saving $700. So it's $2,300. Has a 4.2 rating and a clunky website. Which one are you choosing?
Yeah, this one's hard. Am I going by myself or am I paying for my whole family to go?
A couple, you and your wife.
Okay, so now it's $1,400 I'm saving instead of 700, right? So that the more people I'm taking, the more likely I'm going to start looking at a cheaper price, unless I can afford the higher price, right? At the same time, being a web designer by trade, like clunky websites drive me nuts. So depending on how clunky and how hard it is to actually book my trip, I might be willing to spend more money. If the booking experience, the website experience is easier. But I'd probably, if it was me and my wife, probably go with the cheaper option here, just because I can do a lot with $1,400.
So I'm with you on this, and I thought you were going to say the opposite. So I'm with you. I would rather save the money as long as other checks and balances are there. So are they being responsive? Are they, do I trust them in other ways? So okay,
Yeah, we're
number
definitely
3.
basing this off of a very small window of decision, right? So there's a lot that goes
Yeah,
into it.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so I think you'll like this one. Okay. Would you rather choose a tour operator that has a horrible website, but they're incredibly thoughtful and thorough in their email replies when you ask for a quote? So we'll assume this is multi day. Or they have a beautiful, polished experience that's fully automated and you never actually talk to a human?
I think it depends on if it's a multi-day tour, I'm probably gonna have some questions, and are those questions able to be answered on their website or through whatever automated experience they have? I'd probably go with option 2 here because I don't if they have a horrible website, there's a good chance I'm never even getting to the place where they're sending me emails. But also I don't read a lot of emails, so if they're sending me a ton of emails and they're thoughtful and thorough, I'm probably not reading them unless they're very short, and so I would rather have that beautiful polished experience and not have to talk to someone as long as my questions are getting answered.
Same. Absolutely. So if they really do have a beautiful website, I'm going to assume that they have everything answered. They have a great FAQ where I don't need to be reaching out to somebody asking for a million different questions. So I'm with you on that. Okay. Last, would you rather? This is a day tour. So would you rather book a day tour that has a book instantly online right now option? So you're able to book in under a minute, has a decent amount of reviews, or a day tour that has much better reviews, but you have to call somebody to book?
Ooh, that's hard, especially
Uh,
during business hours. I'm the type of person that I put off calling. I actually have a sticky note to call about my laundry machine on my desk right now, because it's making weird noise and it's been sitting here for over a week. So if it's something I can do right now and get out of the way, then I'm most likely gonna go that route because if not, I'm either gonna take way too long to do it and then not do it, or it'll be too late, or I'm gonna have to have someone else do it for me.
So I'm choosing the one with decent reviews and I could book immediately because I do not like calling people. I will if I have to, but no.
Yeah,
Awesome.
millennials,
That was
right? We don't like talking to people on the phone if we don't have to.
right. That's right.
Especially, I
That's
will
right.
say, if I call you and I have to click through a number tree and be on hold, like, I'm gonna hang up, most likely. I'm gonna go and find someone where it's more instant because I get that that happens, but I hate waiting on the phone for
Yeah,
someone to answer or getting an
I'm with you.
automated phone tree or whatever.
When I do call, I want to talk to a human and I want my problem solved. That sounds a little like aggressive, but I, I, I want it to be figured out on that call so I don't have to call back.
Yeah, and
Okay, everybody.
I'm only calling because I couldn't figure it out myself, right? And
Yeah,
so, I'm already in not necessarily maybe an agitated state, but I'm already in a state where, like, I don't wanna be doing this. So, I need it to be quick or else I'm just gonna move on to something else.
agreed. Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's episode, but before we continue, let's take a quick scenic route. In the first several episodes of the Tour Operator Growth Podcast, we went over the Resmark Growth Engine. The Resmark Growth Engine is 5 stages of your customer journey. So dreaming, planning, booking, experiencing, and sharing. You should know them by now. But if you've ever wondered, I wonder where I stand with all of this and how do I stand compared to other tour companies? Well, we've created a growth assessment for free that we'd love you to take. It is a quick 5-minute assessment and it's going to allow you to discover exactly where you're strong in your customer journey and where you're maybe leaking those bookings, revenue, repeat guests. So if you'd like to see your score, you'll get a nice PDF sent to you via email. I'm going to highly recommend that you take this growth assessment. And if anything, you're going to be able to look at it weekly, monthly, and see, okay, this is where I really need to improve. Let's see where I am next month if I start focusing on this. Ideally, you want everything to be green so that you know you have each one of these stages dialed in. I did this for ourselves, and I see a lot of gaps that I need to be focusing on. I also see a lot of strengths that we're doing. So here's my pitch. Please go do the 5-minute growth assessment. It is 100% free. You will have to put your name and email in, but you'll get the results to you. It's as simple as that. To take the survey, you're going to head to resmarksystems.com/growth engine survey. That's /growth engine survey. Alternatively, you could just go to resmarksystems.com, and in our main hero section, you'll see a big button that says get a free growth report. Go ahead and click that and start the assessment now. All right, and back to the conversation. Okay, everybody, you're probably listening and being like, what are we talking about? Well, today we really just want to have some fun and compare options, compare tours from our point of view specifically, because both Greg and Greg doesn't book as many tours as I do, but he has in the past. I book a bunch of tours. I'm actually in the middle of doing research, and I'm in the dreaming phase right now. I'm actually probably past the dreaming phase. I'm more in the planning stage for my 2027 tour, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So I'm excited to share my own thoughts going through the process with you.
So let me ask you a question, Nikki. Um, what's the last tour or activity you booked a trip for? And how did you actually pick who you were going to go with?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the experience that I'm in the middle of right now. So I haven't actually booked the trip, but I do think I have a good idea of who I want to go with. So I am going back to the Serengeti, hopefully next year. So it's a little while from now, but now's the time to start planning and getting excited, and all of that sort of thing. So what I'm doing right now, and if you've listened to a previous episode, I had an amazing experience the last time I was in the Serengeti, and I thought the tour company was great, but there are a few little things that I was questioning, and I wouldn't recommend them to a friend or family, basically. I didn't leave them a bad review or anything, but now I'm choosing a little bit more wisely, doing a little bit more research. So some of the companies that I'm deciding between are really based on how quick they responded. So I asked for a quote, and they were able to give me a quote within 24 hours. And I'm not saying like first come, first serve. That's not how it was. But there's a few that I still haven't got a quote for, and it's been 6 days. And I'm excited at this point. I want to see the price point, I want to see the itinerary. So a lot of it is based off of that, how quick they were able to give me the quotes. And we are looking for a custom experience. So I'm not looking to get the quote online. Actually, I am looking for somebody to craft that quote for me because it is a little unique. So having somebody to respond quickly and also make adjustments as needed has been really great. So the ones that have come through, they have done that, but one in particular has just been really thoughtful and kind and genuine in his responses. And I'm not 100% sure just yet because I still need to keep doing my own research. But because of that, he has made it to the final round of that is the tour operator Nikki is choosing. So to answer your question, Gray, one of the main reasons is because he responded quick. He's making the adjustments I need, and he's being really, really kind, which has been really great to work with because it's a lot of money. Okay. My question for you, Greg, is what makes you instantly roll out a tour?
Ooh, there's probably a lot of things. If I'm in, it depends which phase I'm in, I guess. If I'm literally just starting and I'm pulling up a bunch of different websites, if it's a crappy website, I'm out. Like if I open up 5 tabs and 2 of them are crappy websites and 3 are good, I'm gonna start looking at the 3 that look good. I'm not even gonna give you a chance to start reading content. If I don't like the presentation, I'm just gonna look at the others.
Do you think that's because you are a designer, or does everybody think like that?
I think everyone thinks like that. There's statistics out there, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but that design definitely plays a role into how quick people are going to judge your site and leave. It's the same as if you walk into a store. There was a Target that I used to live by, and you'd walk in and it just looked trashy. Like there was clothes on the floor all the time. And it made you not really want to come back because you think Target, like, oh, it's nicer than going to Walmart, but it was like garbage all over. And so people are going to judge you by how your website looks. And if it's not presentable, if it's not easy to find what you want, then they're going to move on really quickly. Speaking of websites, Nikki, has a website ever talked you out of booking? And if so, kind of how did it do that?
Yeah. So this was for a day trip specifically, and I might have shared this before on the podcast, but one time I was on a website and I just wanted to book the tour. Like I just wanted immediate confirmation that I could put my money in there and the tour was booked. But it just every click that I kept going in on the website just kept getting deeper and deeper. And there was essentially no book now. It was inquire via form. So, which would have been fine if that was in the first step, but it was like just getting deeper and deeper. And then I got to the form. And at that point, I was just like, okay, they must not want my money or something. It took so much effort just to get to that last point to then say, okay, let's submit a form to then hear back maybe in what, 2, 3 days. So I was just kind of a little annoyed at that point and then just came off and booked a different tour. So yeah, that's the first thing I could think of, which kind of goes along the lines of make sure that your website has a good user experience and is not confusing. And I am not saying you can't have an inquiry form on your website. Of course, if you utilize something like Resmark as your booking software, it makes it a lot easier. But let's say that Resmark is not a fit for you and you do have a form on your website, make sure that's like the second or third step, not the eighth step somebody has to take to submit their information. Greg, I know you've experienced something before when you actually booked a trip. And I know you ended up booking the trip, but could you maybe share what happened when you were booking that trip and were frustrated with that experience?
So I think you're referring to when I went to Banff, and I actually booked the trip just to see what would happen. I had no intent of actually going. And that might sound bad, but because I just didn't like the experience so much, I was like, I'm interested to see what happens here. I will not book a tour if I have to do a forum and it's a day tour. Like this was a 1 hour scenic float tour. I'm not going to use a forum. I just won't. And so in this case, I can't remember the mindset exactly that I was in, but they had a forum and it had to do with their availability and their cancellation policy. And it was really just something that was unique. And I don't know, I'd never seen it before. So that's the only reason I booked was to see what would happen. And nothing happened. They never contacted me. So Um, it obviously wasn't a good experience in the sense of I tried to book and I do think I got an email saying something about like show up and whatever, but that was it. Um, and so I ended up canceling, I believe. But for me, I will not use the forum for a single day trip unless it's something that I just know I want to do and there's no other option. If there's other options and I can book online, I'm going to book online.
But also, a lot of times we're booking a day tour, we're booking it at a lot shorter window. So maybe it is today we're going on that tour, we're wanting to, or tomorrow, or even in 3 days from now. Whereas a multi-day, like we're planning next year or 8 months from now. Um,
Yeah,
but
and
if
this
you
was a
have
tour
that,
where, like, we were booking months in advance because we were
so you
planning our
had
trip,
some time.
and so we were
Yeah.
we were trying to figure out, like, okay, day 1, we wanna do this, 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 and this. Day 2, so we were booking everything out in advance in this case, but if I'm in destination and just booking something, then that's
Yeah.
even more different
Instantly.
because 'cause I'm most likely just gonna book online or walk into your doors and book if you have a location I
Yeah.
can do that in.
That made me think when it was over the weekend, I was submitting quotes for safari companies and some of the forms did not go to any sort of succession page, so our confirmation page saying, "Thank you for submitting your form." I hate when that happens, and this happens actually quite a bit. So you submit your form, you submit your contact details, and then it just goes nowhere. But maybe it was submitted, but I didn't get the confirmation. So just make sure, hopefully, if you're listening to this, you have that in place. But better yet, one of the things that I really like to do, especially for like Resmark Web, our sites and whatnot, is like go to an external landing page that is nicely designed, gives them that confirmation that they submitted their information and tells them about the next steps as well. All right, Greg. Who do you ask before you commit to a tour? So, is it a partner? Is it a friend? Is it your children? Who do you ask?
Yeah, typically I'm booking these tours with my wife, and it's either me and my wife going to do something or me and my wife going with our family to do something. And the way we typically work is we actually both kind of separately look at stuff and we put together a Google Doc of things we want to do in the location. And I'm judging it all based off of totally different criteria than she is. And so once we kind of put this list together, she's the one that's usually going in and booking everything. Just because she has a little bit more time during the day to go and do that while I'm at work. And so I'm definitely asking her, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Or she'll show me a website and be like, that website looks horrible. Let's look for a different company or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of kind of back and forth there on what we want to do. Plus, I'm also the type of person that most of the time I struggle with making those type of decisions or I don't care enough. So if it's something that she wants to do, like I'm just gonna like, cool, let's not do what I mentioned and let's just do that instead because we don't have time for both. Um, so I defer a lot of those type of decisions.
That is so funny you said that because it's the opposite dynamic in my household. Chad literally wants me to do, Chad is my husband, for those listening. He wants me to do all the research. He wants me to do all the planning and booking. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to. It is too much of a responsibility. He starts the spreadsheet for us and he's like, Nikki, this weekend, can you fill it out? Can you do this? And he like has it all organized, but I have to go in and do it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Because like you, Greg, it's not that I don't care, but I am a very quick decision maker. So I don't do my homework all the time. So although, yes, I'm looking at some basics like reviews and stuff, I'm always not always comparing the cheapest options for, the best reviews and this and that. I'm not really checking all that. Fortunately, with Claude, we could do that a lot easier and quicker. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to do that. So I'm just like, okay, rip the band-aid off, pick the tour operator. Let's go with that one because I'm sure it's going to be a great experience. Whereas my husband's like, no, we have to be thoughtful and do a bunch of research and spend weeks doing this. So I'm a little bit more like you, Gregor. It's like, it's not that I don't care, but it's like, I just want it done, you know?
Well,
So
my wife always gets annoyed because I'm either a very long decision maker or I'm very spontaneous. And so she'll put together ideas and I'll be like, "Okay, let me research all of this." And then I put it off for 2 weeks and then I do some research or I spontaneously choose something else. And so
yeah,
it depends on the mood I'm in and what time I have, I guess, for how I figure this out.
yeah, yeah. Okay, this has been a really fun conversation. And I think the purpose of this is really to show you guys that all consumers have different psychologies behind them. And just because you have 5 stars and 200 of them, and we tell you to get more reviews, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be chosen because some people are always going to choose the cheaper option. Everybody is different. Every buyer is different. But the important thing is knowing who your buyers are and what they're searching for. Maybe they are only searching for that cheaper option, or maybe your ideal customer is looking for the more luxurious, more expensive option. So maybe take a step back and see how you research and how you choose tours. I know a lot of the times as a business owner, we don't think about that. We're always in the day to day actually running the business, but sometimes it's fun to take a step back. I know for Greg and I to have banter and have conversations like this, it's kind of fun because we could take what we believe as consumers and actually implement it for our tour operators to an extent. So maybe if anything from this episode, take a step back, Understand how you search when you're looking for tours and ask your friends and family how they're choosing their tour. That's it for today's episode of the Tour Operator Growth Podcast. If you got value out of today, follow the show wherever you listen and leave us a quick review. It's the best way to help other operators find it. And if you want help putting any of this to work in your own tour business, book a call with the team at resmarksystems.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.